Hello everyone, my name is Vimal Raj. I'm a lecturer from the Mechanical Department from GEMS Polytechnic College, Aurangabad, Bihar. So this is the last topic from the unit number 3, water pollution. So subject environmental and pollution control 1625503 according to the SPTE syllabus. So today we're going to discuss about the water purification process. So the content that we're going to discuss today is the steps of water purification process. So what are the steps the government are using, or the factories they use for the purification of water? So these are the steps they follow every time when they do this purification process. The steps of water purification process. The detailed steps and method of water treatment depends on nature of raw water and required standard of water quality. So this is a diagram that has been used, as a reference. So basically when you see this diagram itself, you can understand how the water purification process is happening. So first one, this is a raw water. So they use this they use this raw water actually. So when they use this raw water, what happens is, from this raw water there is a pipe which is connected. So this pipe is being connected over here, and this coagulant tubes are connected as well as. So when this raw water is being sent to this pipe to the coagulation tank, where in which the coagulation process happens. So we already know that what is coagulation. That is like water is been where in which water has been turned from a liquid to solid state, like a jelly substance happens. So when this coagulation process happens, these sediments, everything will be settled, and only the water will be sent to the next tank, that is a flocculation tank. So when the flocculation happens, these particles and impurities will be floating on the top, as well as some of the particles will be sedimented and will be going down the tank, and only the water will be sent to the sedimentation tank. So when this process happens, when sedimentation happens, this water will be filtered. The water will be going for the sedimentation process, wherein which these impurities and all these things will be filtered, will be sedimented at the bottom of the tank, and only the water will be sent through the pipe to the filtration tank. So when the water comes to the filtration tank, there is a filtration process will be happening, wherein which all the impurities and all those things will be filtered. So 90% of the water will be filtered, like whatever the whatever the substance will be there, it will be filtered, and even some microorganism will be introduced, wherein which it will eat those things, and the chemical contents, everything will be at most it will be filtered. And once it has been filtered, it will be going through the disinfectant. It will be going to the disinfection tube, wherein which the disinfection process will happen. So here the water treatment process will be happen. So once the water has been treated, it will go as a 99% pure water, and that is where we get the home consumption happen. So this is a several stage of process which will be used in the filtration process. So this is just a basic picture that how the filtration is happening. Okay, so these are general steps of purification of drinking water. That includes aeration, so wherein which raw water is first collected in large aeration tank, and the water is aerated by bubbling compressed air through the perforated pipe. So how the process happen is, there will be a aerated tank wherein which the raw water will be collected, and severe amount of pressure will be given, wherein which the compressed air will be given into that. So when it starts to bubble, automatically the water will be it will be like bubbling here and there in the perforated tubes, and wherein which some of the impurities will be bubbled, and which will be floating, or it will be going down. So that happens, wherein which once it happens, the next process is aeration, removes the bad odor and the CO2. Basically the aeration process that removes the bad odor. So in some of the water, the smell will be more. See, in Tamil Nadu and all, we used to drink this can water, that is between 20 rupees, 25 rupees, we used to get the can waters. So this can water will be going such kind of purification process, where in which the water from the ponds and lakes and rivers, they used to get it, and they use this filtration process. So what's the first process, the aeration process, where in which they will be removing the bad odor and the CO2, because CO2 is very very bad, which is because if it's present in the water, it is very harmful, not only for human, for everything. So basically the water should have the oxygen content, because for the helpfulness for the production of the RBC, that is the red blood corpuscles. So it also removes a metal such as iron, manganese by precipitating then as their respective hydroxide. So basically what happens is, it also removes the metals such as iron and manganese by the process. So this is one of the process which is being done at the initial stage, in order to remove the odor, I mean the smell, as well as the carbon dioxide and other metal removals. So next one is the storage or the settling. So aerated water is then placed in a settling tank and stored for 10 to 14 days. So once this aeration process is done, this water will be taken into a storage tank, where this water will be stored for at least 10 to 14 days. So during the storage, about 90% of the suspended solid settle down. So basically when we take a cup of water and we put some of the impurities in the water, and we make it to settle for about 10 to 14 days, what happens after 14 days, when you come and see the water will be there, all the impurities will be going down at the bottom, so that you can take the clean water. So the same process they are also here doing. What they are doing is, during this storage process, 90% of the suspended solid settles down within 24 hours. So the 24 hours, the water will become very clear. So, and even certain heavier toxic chemicals also settles down during the storage process. Some of the heavier toxic chemicals which is not meant to be good for the intake, these chemicals also be taken down, and these also will be settling down. So similar pathogenic bacteria gradually died, and bacterial count decreased by 90%. So if suppose any bacteria are there, it will automatically die, because for the first 5 to 7 days of storage. So the pathogenic bacteria also will be killed during the first 5 to 7 days of storage. So 90% of the bacterial count will be decreasing during the storage process. So because it will not there won't be any running water, and it has to settle anyways. So it has to go to the impurities to feed themselves. So it will be going down, and it will be staying down itself. And during the storage, organic matter present in water, it is oxidized by microorganism. So during the storage, organic matter also will be present in the water, so which will oxidize the microorganism. Similarly, NH3 present in is oxidized into nitrate by microorganism during storage. So similarly, NH3 nitric acid, which is present in the oxidized state, which will nitrate the microorganism during the storage process. So which will be helping that storage and settling is a very very important process, wherein which these water will be stored and which will be settled, make sure that these will be kept for a period of time, so that everything goes in a smooth way, wherein which we are required to have only the pure water. Next one is the coagulation process. So water from storage tank is then placed into the coagulation tank, and then some precipitating agents such as alum, lime, etc. are added in water and mixed. So these precipitating agents from the precipitate of LO3 when dissolved in water, what happens is it will basically it will dissolve in the when dissolved in the water, the suspended solids absorbs on the surface of the precipitate. So gradually mass of the precipitate becomes heavier and finally settles down. So basically what happens in this process is, it forms like a gel in shape structure, right? So all these particles will form as a gel shape, and it will basically it will go and settle in the bottom. So which is a good sign. So when this coagulation process happen, they will be introducing the agents like alum and lime which will be added, so that it will be mixed with the water, and it will be mixed firmly, so that the content that is having will be forming as a group, flock. And what happens is, once they become a group of flock, they become heavier. So what happens automatically, the heavier thing which is floating on the water will go down. So because of that, this coagulation process, these pure water will be taken to the next process, that is the flocculation process. So this technique is used to remove very light suspended solids that do not settle by themselves during storage. So basically, why they do this process is, during the storage itself, so many particles will be going down, but some lighter particles might not go down, because that might their density will be very small and very lighter, so that they might not settle in the water. So what they will do is, they introduce this coagulation process. So when they introduce this coagulation process, what happens is, lighter substances will be clumped together and become a heaviest substance, and it will float down, it will go down themselves during the storage. And furthermore, if negatively charged colloidal impurities are present, they are neutralized by aluminum plus ions and settle down. So if suppose any negative charge colloidal impurities are there, they will use this aluminum plus ion for the process. So next one is the filtration process. So before that, the flocculation process is there, right? The flocculation process is nothing but these things will be clumped and floating, and sediment, like a sediment process will be happening. So that's the flocculation process. So filtration will is the next process. So what happens is, partially clarified water is then passed through the sand gravity filter, which removes 98 to 99% of microorganisms and other impurities. So partially clarified water, that is, till this flocculation process, only the 90% of water will be purified. Maybe 90% of water will be purified during this storage and settling itself, but after this coagulation flocculation process, still the water will have some impurities which is not cannot be seen with the naked eyes. So which thing, just small micro things will be there. So what they will do is, they will introduce to this filtration process. Once the filtration process happens, these things will be filtered, and which will be removed. Almost like 98 to 99% of microorganisms and other impurities will be removed. So this is a sand gravity water filter. So sand filter is a rectangular tank in which filter bed is made up to 3 layers. So when the 3 layers filter will be made, the top layer will be a fine layer of 1 meter thick, and the middle layer will be 0.3 to 0.5 meter thick layer of coarse sand, and bottom layer would be 0.3 to 0.5 meter thick of gravel. So there is a collection tank at the bottom of the filter bed to collect the filter water. So basically, it will go through the top layer, and it comes to the middle, and it goes to the bottom layer, and after that it goes to the collection tank. So there is a collection tank at the bottom of the filter bed to collect the filtered water. During the filtration, filter bed soon gets covered with a slimy layer called vital layer. Vital layer consists of threads like algae, diatoms and bacteria. So these things will be filtered during this filtration process. So during the filtration, microorganism present in the vital layer oxidize organic and other matter present in water. For example, NH3 is present, so it is oxidized into nitrate. Vital layers also helps in filtration of microbial cells. So if water contain unpleasant odor, activated carbon may be placed in the filter bed that removes the bad odor. So even the vital layer can also help in the filtration of microbial cells, so which will remove the unpleasant odor. So this is a process nowadays. They use it in the RO purifier system, where in which sediment tank will be there, when so many things are there. So when the sediment tank when the storage tanks have this water, it automatically purify all those things, and only the 90% of the water will be purified, and next it goes to the flocculation process, and then goes to the filtration process. So this is a series of process which will be happening, wherein which the filtration will be done, and up to 98 to 99% of the water will be purified. So this is the filtration process which is happening. So next one is a disinfection. So this is a important thing which is happening in the filtration process. So once the water is being purified, the filter tank is finally purified by using a disinfectant. Example, chlorination. So disinfectant kills pathogenics as well as other microorganisms in water. So basically, during the filtration process, some microorganism might escape and can go out of the filtration. So what happens is this infection tank, what it will do is it will be purifying it by using some chlorination, and it will kill the pathogenics as well as some microorganisms in the water. These pathogenics are very important, because these pathogenics are the important things which cause disease and which cause some important important disease in our organs. So these pathogenics has to be, this are living organisms, so if we drink also, it will live inside us and it can create a problem. So these pathogenics has to be killed. So because of for that they use this chlorination, like a disinfection. For that they use this chemical in order to purify the water. Okay. So next one is after the disinfection, water is pumped into the overhead tank for the subsequent domestic distribution. So once the disinfection is done, so water will be supplied to the overhead tank, where in which that water will be literally it will be supplied to all the domestic needs. So these are the process that is happening, the filtration process happening, storage tank, aeration process, this settling process, next is coagulation process and filtration process, finally is the disinfection process. So these are the process which is happening, and they have to follow all those things in order to get the pure water, because nowadays water it's totally been contaminated because of the industrial pollutions and man-made activities and natural activities. So many things are there. Because of that, the water has been polluted, and people they cannot depend on the water, because they cannot depend on the natural source of water, because even though the water that is we are getting could be polluted, even we may not physically see the difference, but the chemical changes can happen, because it passes so many places and it comes, right? So nowadays everywhere the factories, big factories and power plants, all those things are there, so they are dumping all the waste into the water bodies. So this is this thing we have to look into it, and we need to look forward for it, because that is very important prospect we have to see. So with this we have just come to the conclusion of the PPT. So today we did the in detail study on the steps of purification process, and these are the reference book for the slides. And with this we have come to conclusion for the unit number 3, that is lesson number 2, water purification process. So after this we will be going for the unit number 4. So I hope you guys understand this video. So we will be covering the next unit in the next video. So we will see you in the next video. Thank you guys, thank you for listening to this video.